Testing. Hello and welcome everybody. So today we are going to be looking at two investments that I think are going to be good for the future. All right. So the date is currently September 4th, 2021, and it is 8:26 p.m. and I'm in Texas. So there we go. All right, so why Airbnb and Ethereum Classic are good investments for the future? Hello, my name is Anton Bily, and today I'm going to tell you why Airbnb and Ethereum Classic are excellent investments for myself and maybe for you too. So Airbnb is very good because of its growth and what its future earnings could hold for its investors. So let's look at the growth, right? So we're talking about what kind of growth are we talking about? We're talking about I'm referring to revenue growth, and if we look at revenue growth from 2014 to 2020, we can see the growth is nice. It's consistent and it's in a current uptrend. Other than 1 year, which is 2020, and I think we all know what happened in 2020, COVID-19. But disregarding that, we have a nice linear growth pattern right here. And that is something that I really like about this company. And if it weren't for COVID-19, not to say we don't know what would happen, but I like to imagine that it would be continuing to grow up here into 2020. But we'll see in 2021 as we continue to recover from March lows. All right. So, yeah, if you do not know, my name is Anton Bily, and this is my weekly stock talk. And today we're going to be talking about Airbnb and Ethereum Classic. All right. So that's one reason I really like Airbnb is because it's revenue. So now, although it has decreased a lot from 2019 to 2020, that is a considerable amount. However, it's still made more, or it's still made slightly less than in 2018, which is still pretty good considering what happened in 2020, which was a government-mandated shutdown across America. So, considering that, they did pretty good, in my opinion, of course. But yeah, so a lot of people think Airbnb is overvalued, and I can understand why. I mean, the valuation, they went IPO, I think, was it 2020? We can check here. I believe they went IPO in 2020, but just to be sure and certain. Yeah, 2020, December 10th. All right. Yeah, so in 2020, they went public. Probably not the best year to go public, but they did pretty good after they went IPO, as you can see. But yeah, other than that, I understand why people think it's overvalued, right? They're making, 3.4 billion last year, and they're valued at just under 100 billion. That's insanity, right? Well, we also need to look at their growth, right? So typically with growth companies, they're valued at a higher premium. Now, this is I mean, you got to also consider what kind of market we're in, right? There's a lot of companies that are just insane valuations, to some extent, but I understand where people are coming from with this. I mean, it's not a cheap company. You're not buying it on the low, of course, all right? You're buying it at a high premium. But there is a good reason for that, and that is their revenue just keeps on growing continuously year over year. Of course, other than that, COVID-19 in 2020. Other than that, their revenue has just been very consistent, and I think a lot of investors see value in that, and that's where it gets its valuation from. But yeah, not saying it's completely justified. I'm just saying that's a reason that it is expensive and where it's at. All right, so you can see their users growth over 2012 to 2018. Also, again, very nice and linear. It's just insane how they've been growing. Their bookings for 2016 to 2020 also have been growing. Again, 2020 took a hit. That's basically the kind of motto we're going with here. Again, 2013 to 2019, still growing on their listings. Now, their valuation. This is from TechCrunch. So this is their valuation on Airbnb. And as you can see, they value it at 18 billion as of 2020, which I do not agree with. That is too low. They don't. I don't think they understand what kind of growth this company has behind it. So I disagree with them. Again, feel free to form your own opinion on them. Then we're looking at rivals, subsidiaries, Expedia, Trivago, basically any other travel company, hotel, TripAdvisor, bookings, those kinds of companies. Yeah, so this is the, what is it, gross bookings versus rivals. So you can see they got a decent chunk. I actually expect this Airbnb to take much more of this over time, just because of their competition right now. I don't. None of these companies, TripAdvisor, bookings, they don't do what Airbnb does. They do hotels, they do tickets, they sell all that kind of stuff. They don't. Nobody sells or rents out houses like Airbnb does. So and it's just really, it's the company that's making money, right? So let me explain more on this. Whenever the people who put their houses on Airbnb to rent out, those are the people who make majority of the money. Airbnb just takes a cut of a percentage of what you make on each house when you list it and it gets rented out because you're using their platform. Booking, Expedia, they do it a little bit differently. I feel like Airbnb is more involved with the people, like the mass population, and that's why I think it has an advantage over every other travel company. Like bookings, do you see people selling tickets to bookings because they own their own airports? No, I see companies selling their tickets and bookings taking a percentage off of that. Same thing with Expedia, although it's in a different industry, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, I did not do research, so I might be wrong about some of these companies. But for bookings, I'm pretty sure they sell, it's in the name, they book stuff and with tickets, but not too well informed on those competitors. But I do know Airbnb has that advantage over all these other travel companies. Yeah, so that's just a brief overview of Airbnb. Again, you can look at this website. It's where I got my source from. It's businessofapps.com/data/Airbnb dash statistics. All right. So yeah, that's Airbnb for you guys. Next, we're going to be talking about Ethereum Classic. All right. So Ethereum Classic. Okay, this is one special cookie right here. So let's take a look at it. So let's pull it up here. Let's go right here. Oh, it's not there. Let me type it in then. All right, so let's see. Let's take a look at it. So yeah, so Ethereum's Classic is trading at 72.43 per coin right now. What were the highs? Let's see. That highs right here were about one. Oh shoot! It hit 200. Okay. All right. Well, so yeah, so it came back from $200 highs, which is insane. I think it could probably go higher than 200 in my opinion. It's just getting started. If you catch my drift, but no. Anyways, Ethereum Classic is probably one of my favorite investments right now. It's like you even see been seeing Ethereum Classic's on the verge of a breakout. I actually agree with that. I think Ethereum Classic has so much room to grow in the future. I love, like, it is basically Ethereum, like the classic version of Ethereum. And don't be fooled by it being classic, right? It's not like it's a dumb version of Ethereum. It's just, so basically what happened is, so you may be wondering why there's two different types of Ethereum, right? The reason for that is because whenever there's developers working on a cryptocurrency or a project or something like that, and maybe they have a disagreement, and they're not sure what they want to do, like maybe a portion of developers want to take it another way, and then another one wants to take it another way. They may have different views. They both have like good points, valid arguments. So what they do is they split, like kind of like a share split, but not really. So basically, like it's more like they split their project. So now, like, if you ever owned Ethereum, and you owned it when Ethereum Classic split, you'd actually get the same amount in Ethereum Classic as you had Ethereum. So let's say they split at like $5 a coin. I'm not just making that up. I don't know if that's when they actually split, but let's say they split at $5 a coin. You held like maybe 100 Ethereum coins at $5, so that's 5,000. So basically, if once they split, you'd get 5,000 or 100 coins worth of Ethereum Classic and 100 coins of Ethereum. So you'd have $10,000 total. And that's basically what would happen if you got a split in crypto. And that happens, I don't know if that probably doesn't happen too often, as there aren't like 20 million Ethereums, different versions of Ethereum, but there's only two. So being only two, you can see the value in that. And obviously Ethereum Classic is way below what Ethereum's trading at. Ethereum's almost trading at 4,000 coin, while Ethereum Classic is at 72. And a lot of people think this is undervalued, and I am one of those people who agree with them. The main difference that's going to happen with Ethereum and Ethereum Classic is the structure, how they conduct transactions. So on the blockchain, there's proof of stake and proof of work. Ethereum Classic wants to stay with proof of work, which is basically where you have a computer like a GPU, and you're mining, you're solving equations, and that's how you make transactions happen. On the other hand, Ethereum is going to move to a proof of stake, which is going to be more efficient, and it's going to cost less in gas fees. And gas fees are just referring to like how much it costs to make a transaction, and that portion of that cost goes to the miner, and yeah. So that's basically how cryptocurrency works. But anyways, getting back into Ethereum Classic, so that's one of the reasons I think that's really important to understand when coming and looking at these two cryptos is Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. And that's really what made me kind of fall in love with this coin, is the way like it makes sense why this should take off. Like, it's not like this is kind of sketchy, but no, it makes sense. And let me explain. So once Ethereum moves to proof of stake, which, I mean, you don't know, they don't really give a timeline. They're like Elon Musk, okay? But yeah, if you don't know, they don't really stick with their timelines, and they kind of joke around about it. But anyways, so you don't really know when it's going to happen. So that's why I just rather invest now and hold it for the long term. But yeah, so once Ethereum moves to proof of stake, what are they going to do with all their miners? They have a lot of people that I watch on YouTube. They all have ASIC miners for Ethereum, which is an application specific miner, right? So that means they can't switch it. Like, let's say you're mining on Ethash, you can't switch it to mine on Bitcoin, right? That's not how it works. So you can only mine on Ethash. So that means what happens when Ethereum, I mean, most of the people who have Ethereum miners mine on Ethereum, like regular Ethereum, not Ethereum Classic. And that's because it's the most profitable crypto. And that's also the main issue as to why they're going to proof of stake, is to get rid of those high gas fees. Because it's so profitable for miners, that means the gas fees are very high to make transactions on Ethereum. And that's why they want to move to Ethereum proof of stake, right? But now, since Ethereum, let's say like in the future, normal Ethereum moves to proof of stake, and they're no longer, you can't mine regular Ethereum, so you can't get that profit as from those ASIC miners that only mine in Ethash, right? So now, what are these miners going to do? They're going to look at Ethereum Classic. Hey, this is the same way to mine, right? It's still using Ethash. I'm not going to just have this expensive piece of hardware sitting around doing nothing. I'm just going to start mining it. What's going to happen when a lot of those ASIC miners move to Ethereum Classic? The transaction speed is going to get faster. More people are going to move to Ethereum Classic, and it's going to be more profitable for the miners to move to Ethereum Classic, which may also drive up the gas fees on Ethereum Classic. But in the beginning, they should be cheaper. And maybe Ethereum Classic is going to find a way to get around that. And I think they will, but that's just my opinion, and we don't know until they get around that. But anyways, other than that, speculation there, that's my thesis on it, and that's why I think it's going to go up, because all those miners, what are they going to do? Are they going to just throw them out? No, that's not what investing is, right? You got to use that to your advantage. And if you see something like Ethereum Classic that has the same thing to mine it with, they're probably going to move to that. All right. So that is my conclusion. And that's why I think Ethereum and Airbnb are good investments for the future. All right.